And there we are on Facebook and YouTube. Hello, Facebook and YouTube watchers. Any questions for the podcast, let us know. We're going to jump straight in because, as always, Jake's in a rush. Always rushing us. What's that?
You got nothing to say.
Well, I had something and then I decided no.
Okay, good. All right. Hello and welcome back to the Foxy Property Chat podcast. How are we this morning? We'll go with you first, Phoebe. How are we this morning?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Greg.
Wonderful. Love to hear it, Jake.
Very good.
Very good and wonderful. I'm excellent. Thanks for asking. What have we got here? No, never mind that. I'll just open up the chat as well. We are live streaming for those listening to the podcast. If you ever want to catch us, it is a bit hard to lock down the time though.
It's always a little bit
we try and do like Tuesday 9:30, 10, but sometimes things happen. Like today, it's 8:14 a.m. and we are recording.
I'd say probably 50% of the time it's not even on Tuesday.
That's true. Yeah, correct. All right. So as always, I just like getting a feel for how you guys are feeling and what's been happening in the last week around the business, around the industry. So whoever wants to take it away, what's been top of mind?
From a numbers point of view, we spoke last week about the impact of school holidays. This week, the last kind of 5-10 business days, we've done 5, 6, 7 installs a day since then. So
there's been no days with 5.
6.
Stop underselling us, Jake.
Sorry.
No, we need to do 6 installs to hit our numbers for our team.
6 installs
getaway.
every day.
For the next
Month and a bit. Yeah.
So it's feeling like we've got jobs locking in. Phoebe's
Yeah,
kind of lets me know
great.
how many a day, and so it's feeling quite positive. Like
it
we're
is.
past the school holidays.
Consultation numbers doing okay as well? Because that often leads to obviously more work.
Well, we did 163 last month. We're sitting at 113 consults for this month.
Yep.
Quotes that have gone out. However, interestingly, only 50% of those ones from last month have locked in.
Yeah.
With they're not having listed yet, so they were all doing their research to come into market for spring. So I imagine that they'll be locked
so
in
to
soon.
clarify, that's not 50% locked in, 50% have said no. It's 50% locked in, and we're waiting on a large portion of those still to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's it could lead to a busy couple months.
Well, that would be normal.
Which
so,
is what we expect for October and November.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we mentioned, Jake's in a bit of a rush today, so we'll jump straight into Q&A. Staged NZ asks, what do you do for advertising? I think that may have been a comment on last week's podcast around the bus side advertising, and we're talking about underrated or overrated.
Mm-hmm.
That may have come off that back of that conversation.
So you're probably
why don't you answer this?
Why don't you give us some go?
Well, advertising, we don't do a lot, to be honest. Traditional advertising. Sure, marketing is what we focus on. I'd say like 95% of what we do, and that is a long-term brand play where we want to be the forefront back of people's minds when they think of staging or selling. We do that in a number of ways. Social media, we basically just want to be in all the places people are paying attention to and getting as much relevant, entertaining, informative content out to the people in those platforms. So we write blogs on our article. Laura does that. We send out a weekly email. We make a bunch of videos. I'm sure you've seen videos on all our social media sites in different formats. We do long form videos, informative, like 20-minute how to start a home staging business content, and then we do some 10-second reels of Sean pillow fighting people in the warehouse. So it's a wide array of different content. That's more marketing. Advertising, in my mind, is where you ask for a specific sale or you're promoting your product through paid advertising. Now, the way we do that is through YouTube ads. So if you're searching via Google, like selling your home or home staging, and then you go onto YouTube at any point in the future, you may see one of our ads if you're in the appropriate sort of demographic. We do Instagram story ads, we do Facebook ads. But we don't really.
Google search a little bit.
Yeah, but we don't do like I don't know any.
Google
we don't
AdWords.
we don't do Google AdWords.
We do a little bit of TikTok as a test.
We do a bit of
Google
TikTok.
AdWords and SEO. The Google SEO stuff is something that a lot of stylists will talk about.
Yeah.
Needing to spend money on, but we get there organically.
We're at the top organically, and that just comes through branding and also the articles work we do. A lot of that, and obviously just good. Whatever SEO work, but we don't do bus advertising. We don't do TV traditional advertising because we believe. I just say this, but I don't actually know the numbers behind it. It's more cost effective to run social media ads the way we're doing it. in saying that, I'm just sort of parroting that off what everyone else says, or the smarter people I follow, like Gary Vee. But I don't actually know how much it costs to run a TV ad, or But to my mind, it would be very expensive.
Well, it's production, isn't it?
Yeah, so it might cost thousands of dollars, or expos and stuff like that. It's like, well, you're spending say $5,000 on this particular mode of advertising. How much can you get out of social media ads for $5,000? I can tell you right now, you can get a lot of work if done correctly out of just $1,000. So that's it.
So there's not a lot of paid advertising.
More marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, you used to do you mentioned on some of the earlier, I think I did a video of how you started Foxy Homestead. We've done a bunch of that. You used to do some pre-sale advice, or like some renovation and colour advice.
Yeah,
you dabbled in that. Yeah, you don't do that anymore.
No.
Would you recommend people do that sort of work when starting out in the industry, perhaps to get more work? If they've got...
I think so. The reason that I was confident to give that advice is because we've been doing renovations. So I had a background in it, and I knew that those renovations were received really, really well. On top of that, I was also doing the colour selections and final finishes work for GJ Gardner Homes, where if you build a home with them, I help you to finish all the finishes, everything like that. So those two, I guess, foundations in what I was doing gave me the confidence and the ability to be able to advise. I have said over and over again that I don't feel like you need a background or an education in design to open up a styling company, a formal education. But if you're going to go down the path of giving design advice, I very much do feel that you need to have some sort of either background training or qualification to be able to do that. So,
and that's just to clarify as well. You not often, but you'll answer questions when people right now still talk about we're painting. Have you got any?
If someone asks me what colour, I won't hesitate to let them know what colour to go with. I keep across all the Dulux colours, everything like that. We like a white base. I know which colours to use for people.
Yeah. But it's not a service that we offer and charge for.
No.
It's just advice that you can give as part of the consultation process.
And I'm more than happy to do that because then I have a better blank canvas to style, one that actually is cohesive.
So would you recommend other stylists maybe?
Honestly, it depends. Right? Yeah, it's you need to have a background in it. You need to have the confidence. Otherwise you're going to be advising people the wrong thing, and it's their biggest asset. You can't do that.
Okay.
So honestly, it depends on your background and skills as to whether or not you can do. And I don't think it really contributed greatly to the build,
growth of our business. It was never a big percentage of our revenue.
Those GJ colour consults would take 2 hours out of every single day, every time I did it, and I would come out to multiple missed phone calls. That was business for our styling company. Yeah,
so it was almost a distraction.
Yeah, it was. So, and I was like $350 per consult at GJ Gardner versus a home. It wasn't. That's not a growth idea.
Okay. Narelle Campbell asked how to style with cushions on lounge suites. I believe that was a comment on cushions on beds.
I did see that comment come through. I reckon that's probably worth just throwing together a reel of all the different ones that we've that we style. But basically, we just still try to keep it simple, keep the same colour palette that we've got in the rest of the house. So if we have a coloured sofa, we'll go with neutral coloured cushions. If we have a neutral sofa, we can bring in colour in the cushions. Try to stick to about 5 and definitely a throw rug. So different sizes, shapes, different. Well, when I say shapes, oblong and rectangle, oblong and square. Nothing too crazy, no stars. But
don't turn any of them.
Don't diamond anything.
Don't diamond
That's
them.
my contribution.
Thank you, Styles. Jake. Hi Sierra, Staging Co. asks, where do you order your accent pillows from? And what is an accent pillow?
That's any of our decorative cushions that you see.
Right.
It's just a different terminology.
Gotcha.
So we use a huge range of suppliers, and honestly, it depends on where you're from. And Staging Co, I would imagine, is not. I don't know. I don't think they're Australian, but.
Don't know.
So we have Edie Lifestyle, Paloma Living, Adair's, Pillow Talk. We've spoken about quite a few of these suppliers before. Mattress Link Ivory. There's Rappy.com. There are so many different options. I'm pretty sure Laura's popped some stuff up on a blog before as well. So if you go into our blog and search cushions, you should be able to find something, I imagine. But yeah, lots of different suppliers is the key.
The Foxy at Home articles often say that we get a lot of our furniture and pieces. So.
Yeah, I don't just stick to one supplier with cushions. I would have 20 different suppliers, and that's a range. Yeah, it is.
Lots of options.
Yeah. Kate Louis _E. Do you employ part-time / casual stylists, or is everyone full-time?
short answer is everyone is full time as our preference.
That's team culture, yeah.
Yep, because I mean, I know a lot of people go for either part-time or contractor because they don't necessarily have a full week worth of work. Even when we didn't necessarily have the full week of work for somebody, we always went full-time because we were looking at our growth ambitions and wanting to kind of get them ready for that stage.
But the idea behind it should be, yes, they might not have a week worth of tangible work for that employee, but they can take the work off your hands to enable you to then work on the business and get more work in, which if they weren't there, you wouldn't be able to do.
I think what drives a lot of people to go down that path of part-time or contractor is the worry for the quiet weeks or
Christmas.
Those times where it's like, I don't have work, what do I do? I'm still paying somebody.
Yeah.
We always came from the point of view of we would find the work or we would be smart enough to, with our
leverage that time.
like our managing of our cash, so that when we have those times, we could still pay somebody. We have 2 people on 4 days a week instead of 5, but that's purely because that's how it's worked out, and it'll change at some point in the future. It's not
So when Cassie comes back from maternity leave, she's doing 4 days a week instead of 5, and we're always open to that, obviously being working parents ourselves. And then Hayley's doing uni, so she needs just 1 extra day off to be able to make sure that she stays sane. So absolutely down with that.
It gives people the confidence as well, like security.
To them,
Yeah, you get most out of we commit to them, they commit back to us, and you get the most out of somebody. I honestly believe that. And there's not the stress of having to find an extra contractor when, there's messages popping up in the stylist group even this week looking for contractors for this week because they're so busy because it's school holidays, they've lost people, they've got to stay home, all that sort of thing.
Stylist contractors or logistics? Stylist, yeah, right. There you go. This is it from a YouTube comment. Didn't catch the name though. Great video. Greetings from Los Angeles. Question is, why is your furniture never covered or packed? Doesn't it get damaged or dirty? Because that would be a lot of work to constantly clean or fix it.
It depends on what the video, what they saw in the warehouse. We don't have anything covered or wrapped or anything because it comes and goes so quickly. When it's on the truck, we've got the moving blankets, the pads that we wrap everything to protect it all, so everything is covered and protected from damage. Probably a question, I don't know if this is what they were going for, but one that does come up is why don't we plastic wrap our fabric sofas and some of those chairs? Because I know a lot of stages and hire companies do that. We don't, partly because we don't want all the plastic to deal with, from an environmental point of view and how much we would go through, but also really it's down to time, right? The amount of time we would have to spend wrapping and unwrapping, that sort of thing. We're a business that likes, we're about moving fast and efficiently. We recognise that sometimes things will get a little bit dirty and we might need to clean them, but we get around it in other ways, like the guys wear gloves when they're moving any sofas, any fabric chairs, like armchairs, those sorts of things. They wear gloves to protect it from getting dirty handprints and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
And yet you haven't found that things get dirty in the warehouse?
Everything will always get dirty. You're hiring it out, so stuff's going to get dirty. It's not any dirty by not having it wrapped in the warehouse.
It's
it's 100%. And so we get our upholsterer cleaner in, and he'll come and make everything up brand new. When he cleans them, all of our sofas are done with a Warwick commercial grade fabric, which means they're protected by a halo, which I guess if I can describe it like Scotch Guard for those other stylists out here, it's got a cover on it that allows us to clean it back to basically brand new without an issue. We have literally with a wipe of with a spray bottle. We've had to recover a couple, 3 sofas, and that's what we do. I'd send these sofas to our upholsterer and get them recovered. And honestly, the price for that is far more price effective than buying Glad wrap.
Well, it's a trade-off. We accept that we're going to have some things get a little bit dirty, damaged at times. Yeah. We try and minimise those, but we recognise that we're going to get that damage, that the dirty.
It gets dirtier out on site than it does.
But the trade-off or the benefit for us is we're faster. We don't have to deal with plastic. Yeah.
Could you imagine having to wrap plastic wrap?
Like if we've got
sofa
six
every time?
installs and 6 pack-ups in a day, think about how many sofas would have to be wrapped at a job site or in the warehouse. That's a lot of time and plastic. So.
We've got big bags that we had made. There was the styling company down in Newcastle. They featured them. We loved them, so we had 3 of them made, and they are fantastic. But even the time to get the sofas into bags. And then it's infeasible to leave them in the bags because then you can't. It's not as easy as just doing. I've got that sofa. It's just. But they get dirtier out on site while they're being hired than they do sitting here in the warehouse unwrapped. So. Yep.
Okay. So that's the questions. Before we get to under and overrated, we have someone come in and say, hello to Sean W, electrifying D from Alberta, Canada. So shout out to Sean. He's over on the desk giving a fist pump, cheering. All right, let's move on. Under overrated to finish out. Coasters, using coasters.
Oh, underrated. Oh, overrated.
Yeah,
Overrated.
Yeah.
This I really struggle with.
You really do.
Every week we have to remind you how this works.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be hard.
Good audio on social media videos.
Underrated.
Overrated.
What?
Who cares?
Well, when it's echoey,
The
you can't
reason
hear a
I say
thing.
I'm basically giving Gary V's answer. He's
Yeah.
got one of the top 50 podcasts in the world,
Okay.
and half of
I
his
see
are
what you're
not
saying.
the best quality.
But
So,
it can't be echoey.
well, you want good quality, but his point is the quality of the content is more important. Like if he can have a top 50 podcast in the world, and half the time it's difficult to hear some of the
Or
questions,
if
that
he's
sort of thing.
chewing gum with his mouth.
Like you listen to it and you're like, this is annoying, but at the end of the day, it's a top 50 podcast. Like people listen to it. So
Yeah.
from that point of view, I'd say overrated. If it stops you, like a lot of people will procrastinate in starting something because they feel like I've got to get the best microphone and I've got to get this and that. It's like just start. Your phone works fine.
Yep. Similar theme. Good lighting on social media videos.
Similar, but I'd say lighting's maybe a little more important than the audio.
Oh, opposite.
I
Okay,
think.
sure.
That's a good one. Yeah, I don't actually
Well, what
know
do you
which
think
one.
as the from the marketing point of view?
No, I'd agree with your take, like Gary V's take of just get it done, and people need all the expensive equipment to get started, and that's what they worry about. It's like starting a home staging business. Your advice was just get started, and you figure out. We slowly bring in, the lights and the microphones. It's still like not perfect by any stretch, but it'll do. It's good enough. I'd probably say audio is more important than lighting.
Think so?
Don't know.
With
Depends on the
with
video
Images,
and-
you just throw a filter and make it brighter.
Yeah.
True.
Having a full warehouse.
It is great and pleasant and makes things easy, but I say it's overrated
Yeah, I'm
because
gonna go.
if your warehouse is full, you're not doing the job as you should be doing as a stylist unless it's December.
Yeah, I'd say overrated as well. It's good to have the options, but it slows things down when you're pulling furniture. and all
Roughly, exactly.
Oh, we know this number.
How many houses of furniture have you got in the warehouse now? If you had
No.
to
Oh,
Do we know that?
I don't know how many
It's a
houses.
bit hard
we've got,
to-
'cause
We know how
it's
much percent of stock we've got.
all that, yeah.
Yeah,
that.
that.
About 15% of our stock's in the warehouse, and
Yeah.
that for us, given where we're at, that is almost like perfect for where we need to be.
Okay.
Any more than that, it gets a bit too full, and
Yeah.
things get difficult to manoeuvre. Any less than that, and it doesn't give enough options for.
So I should be allowed to choose with 15% of our stock, with another 2 houses being packed up coming back this afternoon.
Yeah.
4 houses go out the next morning without an issue of selections.
Oh, that's interesting. Last one. School holiday traffic during the week.
Yeah,
Under-
underrated.
That means
You
it's
gotta think
awesome.
about it.
Yes,
Yes, it's
underrated. It's awesome.
Yeah.
There was only one Christmas traffic and then COVID traffic. They were
Yeah.
the only things that are better.
I got to say, even going home yesterday, traffic wasn't any better for me.
But that's you're at the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, but you think like it after 3 o'clock, you think it would be fine. Like who's going to
But
the
does
sunny
school
coast?
traffic? This is getting off topic. Does school traffic make a difference to the motorway traffic?
Well, you'd think so, right?
I don't know.
A little bit.
Who drives that far from school?
Oh, but you just get people popping in and off the highway.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm ignoring Silvana, so you guys
Yep.
stop talking about traffic.
Yep. Okay. Well, that is it for the podcast. Thanks. You can answer your phone call if you want.
No, it's all right. I'll write it.
Thanks very much for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining on the live. Ask questions in comments or on Instagram stories when we ask for questions, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks, Phoebe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Cody.
Done.
See ya.
Wait.
Done. And